Come see us on tour. We're going to be in Baltimore, Hartford, Connecticut, Syracuse, Atlantic City, Levittown, New York, Cohoes, New York, and Providence, Rhode Island. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for tickets. Lack of access to safe drinking water. And, man, it's amazing how bad the water is in America. People, I used to think, anyway. And the resultant spread of infectious diseases that kills at least 1.4 million people annually. Hey, so what do you think then? So what is your take then on RFK? Because his whole thing was taken on Big Pharma, so to the point where people think he's a kook, even though in 2008, Barack Obama was considering him to be the head of the EPA. He was such an environmental champion. He cleaned up the Hudson and he sued all the chemical company. He won. He sued Big Pharma and he won, and he lost his reputation for it. But now his whole thing is cleaning up the water supply, the food supply, and getting corruption. What did you see any hope there?
Well, it's an admirable goal. I mean, you're right about water. And of course, all these poor kids who have lead poisoning in cities like Detroit from the water. So he's right about that. And you're right. He was a very courageous and successful environmental lawyer. And Big Pharma is a monster. They buy patents and then jack the price up by 1,000%. They, of course, are shoving all sorts of drugs. I mean, we know that when they get a new drug, they'll just invent a disease to sell it to us. You can go on CNN. I mean, I don't watch CNN, but I put it on in the car because I love the commercials. It's all for like people going bankrupt or people who need some kind of drug I've never heard of for some kind of disease I've never heard of that has like all sorts of side effects right up to, approaching mortality. So yeah, Big Pharma's. I have no trust or sympathy for Big Pharma. That's part of the whole for-profit healthcare system, which is extractive. I mean, it's awful. So
let's skip ahead a little bit. Carbon dioxide in the atmosphere is well above the 350 parts per million. That was considered to be the breaking point, but we've been past that for a long time.
That's right.
And the people who used to tell me about that, like John Kerry and Barack Obama and Bill Gates and Jeff Bezos and Mark Zuckerberg, they keep buying beachfront property, and they keep flying around the world in private jets, and so it's hard for me. I'm questioning it now. I was a diehard climate change guy, and after Russiagate, after the Ukraine war, after the Syrian gas attacks, and especially after COVID, which was the biggest, I can't say what it was, pulled on America and the world, a virus created by our own government, funded by our own tax dollars, and then, which it wasn't, I don't want to get into it, but I question it. Am I crazy to question the climate? Right, because I see how all the medical journals are now infected with Big Pharma money, so they suppress. Look what they did to ivermectin and hydroxychloroquine, miracle drugs. And they made them sound like they were poison and horse paste and fish tank cleaner. And meanwhile, they're saving billions of lives every day, safer than Tylenol. So I see how, I got into it with the editor of the British Medical Journal, and I exposed him for being under the thumb of Big Pharma. It wasn't hard to do because I was able to do it. I'm not a genius. So after I saw how absolutely corrupt the medical system is from top to bottom, to where they can intimidate my local doctor and my local pharmacy. I'm quite, put it this way, I'm at least questioning. I know the people who scream the loudest about climate change don't believe it. So what do you say? Are you skeptical at all?
I do worry about climate change, but I'm with you on Russiagate, obviously. I mean, that's how I lost my job at the website Truth Dig, both Bob Scheer and I, because we challenged that fictitious narrative that Trump was a Russian asset and all this kind of stuff. And so all the well-heeled friends in Malibu and
not
Malibu. Is it Malibu? Is that in California?
Yes,
all the rich,
that's it.
Yeah, Malibu at her little club didn't like her anymore. So we were gone. The publisher. No, I'm with you on all that. But on climate change, I worry. but you're also right that everything's been bought off. I mean, you have, look, I live not far from Princeton University, and you have BP funding the climate science. And so what are they doing? They're doing junk science. They're doing geoengineering and all. So you're right. This big money has infected the pharmaceutical industry, the health industry, everything. And all these environmental groups have been bought off too.
Yes.
So I won't get into animal agriculture, but animal agriculture is as pernicious a contributor to global warming as a fossil fuel industry. But big ag, buys it up. You can't. I'm a vegan because of that. That's. So yeah, you're right. The whole system is essentially dominated by these corporate oligarchic interests and their interests are not our interests.
Come see us on tour. We're going to be in Baltimore, Hartford, Connecticut, Syracuse, Atlantic City, Levittown, New York, Cohoes, New York, and Providence, Rhode Island. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for tickets.